All right, what's going on, everybody, and welcome to the video. This is my third attempt at trying to record this one. Originally, Coop and I were on here, recorded the video, converted it, and it failed. Wasn't able to save it. Second time was recording the video, and my laptop had some update that I couldn't delay, and just completely, started going through the update process. So hopefully, third time's a charm, and we can get through this. But if you haven't already, our truck video and our Xfinity video are up live right now on our YouTube channels, along with the spreadsheets that we put together over on our Twitter. If you guys want access to it, it's over at Fast Cars FM. And then also, I mentioned this in the truck video, but we're at 195, or I think it's 190 subscribers right now. So we're only 10 away from hitting 200. Started the year at 0. So it's been incredible, just the growth and the journey that it's been so far. So thank you guys so much for all the support. If you haven't already, helping us get to that 200 mark would really mean a lot to us. But enough about that. You guys just care about the picks. So looking at the race preview and initial thoughts, it's 200 laps. The formula, or I guess the starting grid, is set by this COVID formula that we've been using. So we don't really know who's going to be fast because there's no practice in qualifying. We're just kind of taking an educated guess, but that's why you guys probably tune into the videos. The Dominators are going to be back in play recently. It's just been at the road courses, so place differential is more important, but Dominator points are going to be back in play this weekend. And then we're running the 550 horsepower package. So the Cup Series has two packages, 750 and 550. This one is going to be the 550. So keep that in mind. If you're looking at previous tracks or previous performances, just know that it's the 550 horsepower package. So that being said, let's look at the individual drivers here. At the top range, I think the three guys that we really like out of our group here are going to be Larson, Busch, and Byron. I think Larson is our favorite play. I think he's going to be high owned. A lot of people are going to be playing him, but for good reason. I mean, he starts first. He's the best position to dominate this race, lead early, earn a ton of fast laps led. It should be a relatively green race too. There shouldn't be a lot of cautions outside of the stage ends, the stage breaks. So like Larson a lot. And then it's like, okay, if you play Larson, then who do you pair him with? I think a good option would be Kyle Busch. Starts 7th. He has some place differential upside, but he doesn't have, as much as maybe William Byron does. So that's kind of why I like, maybe dropping down and trying to get Byron. He has place differential upside and Dominator upside. So I think he's an interesting play there. But I think Busch is a good contrarian play, maybe to Larson. We've seen Busch run extremely well in the 550 horsepower package. I believe both of them have at least, I think, 2 wins apiece running this package. So can't really go wrong with either of them there. And then if those are the guys you think are going to be leading you all the laps, it's really, okay, who else can I plug in that's going to earn fast laps, or who else can I plug in that's going to earn positive place differential points or get a high finishing potential? I think Brad Keselowski is interesting. Starts 20th, can obviously move forward a little bit, but might be a little tough to get to. Ryan Blaney, I think, is an interesting play, probably GPP only. If for whatever reason, if Larson has a bad restart, if Chase Elliott, who starts right next to him, has a bad restart, or maybe Hendrick as a whole just doesn't unload well, he's in the best position to lead early. And we've seen him run decently well, in this package as well. It's if he's not leading you the laps, someone else is, and most likely it's probably going to be Larson. So it might be tough for Blaney to earn those points. But if Larson busts, Blaney is right in a good position to do that. 8K range, Bowman's interesting, probably GPP only there, starting 10th. Should probably run around there all day long, but has the potential, like Byron does, to move forward. He's significantly cheaper than Byron. Doesn't have the same amount of place differential upside that Byron has, but still has some. And Hendrick is definitely the team to beat right now. But the two guys that I really want to target would be Christopher Bell and Austin Dillon. Christopher Bell's in a JGR car. He's $8,100, starting 28th. He hasn't been as fast as his JGR teammates in this package, but still should easily work his way into the top 10, top 12, potentially even go higher than that. Love that play. And then same thing with Austin Dillon. Christopher Bell's equipment's probably a little bit better, but Dillon's isn't that far off. And it's the same price, basically starts right next to him. He's in a tight playoff battle with his teammate to get into the playoffs. So their team is putting a lot of effort and emphasis on this race because they recognize how important it is to try to get into the playoffs. It's only going to be, if we don't have another upset winner, it's only going to be one of them between Dillon and Reddick. So I think both of them should run well. Suarez and Chastain are interesting. I just think that Dillon and Bell have significantly more upside than either Suarez or Chastain do. But with that being said, both of those guys are a little bit cheaper and should come in a little bit lower owned than Bell and Dillon. But I think Christopher Bell is almost like your free square this week. He'll be high owned, but it's really not chalky. I don't think you want to pivot away from. Tyler Reddick, same thing. You could make the argument, with Austin Dillon. Doesn't have the same amount of place differential upside that Austin Dillon has, but he's cheaper, should still run top 10. So in that tight playoff battle, needs to try to work his way into the playoffs. So I think he's a good play. And then if you're paying up for, Larson, Bell, Byron, Kyle Busch, just those top plays that we kind of pointed out, you got to find some good value down here. There's really kind of three guys who I think are going to provide the most value. That's going to be Bubba Wallace, Michael McDowell, and then Anthony Alfredo. Bubba Wallace is running the Xfinity Series race, so he's going to have some extra laps. Not that it really means anything because Michigan, you're just wide open the entire time. It really kind of comes down to equipment, but that's why I don't mind Bubba Wallace here because his equipment I feel like is a lot better than most of the cars around him. Starts 15th, so probably a GPP only option. Michael McDowell, I think, is a good pivot off of the Anthony Alfredo chalk. Everyone's going to see him starting 35th at $5,800. He's going to be the go-to punt play, I imagine. But maybe not. Alfredo's ownership sometimes is a little bit weird just because a lot of people usually don't like to play him, but they're almost forced to play him this week. But another guy that I'm even higher on than Alfredo would be Michael McDowell. Starts, 10 spots higher than Alfredo, so I think that might lower his ownership a little bit, but he's been pretty good at the 550 horsepower package, relatively speaking. His average running position is usually around 18th. His average finish in this package is usually around 17th. So, that's top 20, positive place differential upside, and I'm projecting that he's going to be lower owned than Alfredo. So I don't even potentially mind having both of them in your lines or one of these guys with a Bubba Wallace who's a little bit more GPP focused. Really just kind of depends on how you're building your line above. But it's interesting, when the slate first came out, it was, okay, do I rely more on track history or do I rely more on kind of the previous data of how they've been running this season? Because if you go with the first option, track history, you would just jam in all the Ford guys, jam in Penske, jam in Harvick. Harvick's won the last 3 races here. So it's hard to go against that narrative. But if you look at this year's lap data, it would tell you to do the opposite. Don't play those guys. So I think Harvick, Keselowski, Logano, I think those guys are going to get a significant jump in ownership. And I haven't really seen the performance out of those guys in the 550 horsepower package this year. So I'm not doing that. I'm focusing more just on how they've been running this year in that package. And that's why I want to target Larson, why I want to target Busch, Byron, Bell, Dillon, Reddick, Bowman, these Chastain. That's what I'm really focusing on. And that's what I would advise you guys to do as well. But hopefully this video makes it out to you guys. If not, I'll have to record it for a 4th time, which I don't mind doing because I know you guys enjoy watching the videos. But that's going to do it for Michigan. Any questions, comments, drop them down in the comments below. We'll make sure we get back to you before the slate locks. But That's it. Best of luck this weekend, and we'll catch you for the Wreck Fest next weekend.